momento prego, la chiamano per una collettiva. Bleiben Sie bitte am Apparat, Sie werden für ein Konferenzgespräch verlangt. Un instant, s'il vous plaît, on vous demande pour une conversation conférence.
Pronto? Ciao Poppy! Adesso vi passo Chiara!
We're going on a tour around the world. It'll take a bit of time because the world's quite big.
È una conferenza telefonica.
It's a conference call where I give a strong spiritual thought that we can live together. When we call the zones and they answer, hello, how are you? So it's the life of a family. It's wonderful. Its aim is to help us go on a holy journey, a journey towards holiness.
أيها الآب السماوي نسألك السلام في كل بقاع الأرض وفي قلب كل إنسان.
We ask you for peace in the world and the heart of every person. In particular, we ask you, with the faith that moves mountains, that there be a ceasefire in the war and that dialogue will be victorious in seeking the paths to peace between Russia and Ukraine. We ask for the grace that every ongoing conflict, especially the most forgotten ones, can end. And we ask you to help us take ever more care of the whole of humanity.
Hanno pregato con noi via Zoom dalla Ucraina.
There were young people from Ukraine, from Russia, from Poland, from Myanmar, from the Central African Republic. Thank you that you're all with us in this moment, this important moment that we live all together. We also want to thank all of you who've prayed with us. Basil from Syria, Christina from Belarusia, Kim from the United States, and Hao Jian from China, who are part of the youth reality of the little towns of Lopiano and Monte, who are here with us in the auditorium. In fact, there are 85 young people from 33 different countries here. And linked up in Castel Gandolfo, there are 400 Italian Gen and young people of the movement. So now I need to introduce myself. I'm Walter Muniz, originally from Brazil, but I've been living in Switzerland for the last 8 years, the homeland of my wife Flavia. I'm the father of Taina and Yara, and our baby boy Davi is due to be born in June. I work in the World Council of Churches in the communications team, and every day I'm able to make my personal contribution to unity among the churches. Now we'll hear some short testimonies from those who shared in this time of prayer with us. Let's start with Ukraine. Are you there?
Sì, ci siamo. Привіт усім, ciao a tutti. Ecco, noi ci troviamo nella parte occidentale.
We are in the western part of Ukraine, in a parish where, together with the Focolarine, we were offered hospitality when the conflict broke out. We're here with the local community and other refugees. We try to make ourselves as useful as we can, above all by keeping in touch with those who are in the most affected places. Many people, even that we didn't know before, it's a question of getting help to them or finding a way to get them to a safer place. But above all, it's a question of listening in depth, because often we don't have answers to give. But it's incredible to see how grateful people are, even for a word of understanding and of hope. We thank everyone for your closeness to us, for the welcome we have received, and the concrete help that has come from so many countries. In a special way, we thank you for the prayers from all over the world that make us one family. Bye!
Gosh, listening, welcome. They're really words that make us feel we are one community. Now we've been invited to go to Russia, so let's listen to them.
It's difficult to put into words what I am feeling, what I have been experiencing for the past month. Many people I know agree with me about what is happening, but I can only speak for myself because of the circumstances that you can well imagine. We are suffering so very much about all that is happening, but we realize that our problems and our pain are nothing compared to the horror that is going on in Ukraine. All our prayers and the small things that we can offer up are for them. I want to thank from the bottom of my heart all those who wrote to us during these days to support us and express their closeness, their understanding that we are suffering so much in all this horror and injustice. Your words are very important for us and give us the strength to get up each morning. Thank you. In recent days, I have been trying to talk to the people around me, to listen, to say what I think, calling things by their name. It seems to me that the most harmful thing we can do now is to be silent, to stop talking to each other. I believe that whatever our views are about what is happening, we can find that we share values such as peace, goodness, life, and dignity.
I valori come la pace, la bontà, la vita, la dignità.
With some of my friends here who are psychologists, we're preparing workshops on stress management, on knowing how to dialogue, and on developing critical thinking. This is our small contribution. I will not give up hope. As Margaret said in her message at Assisi, God of mercy, of harmony, make us instruments of your peace.
Thank you very much. We hope and we pray with all of you, and we want you to feel how close we are to you, also that every day we're really living for all of you. Now we'll hear from the community of the Mariapolis Fury in Poland. Over to you.
Yes, we greet you from Poland, from the Mariapolis Fiore, flower. In Poland, so far, more than 2 million refugees have come from Ukraine. Also, many people of the movement are giving hospitality to refugees in their homes. Here at the Mariapolis Fiore, since the beginning of the conflict, 29 people have come. They've come from Kiev and Kovel. The children have started going to school here. Instead, their mothers have decided to make special Ukrainian ravioli that they're selling to the inhabitants of the Mariapolis and other people round about. My name is Emilia. I'm from Kiev. Thank you. Here we feel as if we are in a family. Thank you for your material help, for your prayers, and for your support and your open hearts.
Sostegno e cuori aperti.
Grazie. Grazie, salutiamo tutti. Ciao.
Thank you so much. We continue to go ahead together. Also in the life, also in the Mariapolis, we're there with all of you to work for peace. Now we'll move to Asia, to Myanmar.
Hello, everyone. We too, together with all of you, are living and praying for peace. We ask you to continue to pray for us too.
Thank you very much. Yes, you can count on us. You can count on our prayers and our commitment. We go ahead together. And now we'll go to Africa, to the Central African Republic. Are you there?
Yes. After its independence in 1960, the Central African Republic went through several civil wars, civil conflicts. The most recent one started in 2013 and still continues today. On Monday, the 21st of March, a dialogue that they have defined as Republican began in Bangui that should probably lead to giving the country political stability. The conflict situation in Central Africa seems to have been forgotten since the COVID pandemic began and made everyone so afraid. Adding to this, the conflict in Ukraine, we really ask you not to forget us.
Grazie veramente. È così bello di vedere il miracolo che Dio fa di poter.
It's so good to see the miracle that we can be together and can share with one another in these special moments. I really want to say on behalf of everybody, we're there with you, living with you for peace and for this miracle. In the face of these and other conflicts in the world, which hurt us both personally and collectively, the question arises, when human rights are trampled underfoot, when there's cruelty and injustice towards entire peoples, ethnic groups and religious groups, is armed intervention always wrong? Can there ever be a just war? We asked Vincenzo Buonomo. He's rector of the Pontifical Lateral University in Rome and a professor of international law.
The first factor, I think, is that we should delete the term war, not only as a word, but as a concept. There is no war, there is not and cannot be a just war. Why? Because the conditions that historically led to the emergence of the just war theory no longer exist. We need only think of the kind of war that is waged today, the way in which it is fought, and the weapons that are used. So there is no rightness in war. Also because very often, in fact, more often than not, war stems from an injustice. So how can we talk about a just war? Secondly, there cannot be any factor connected to a sacred or religious belief that can justify a conflict. Because religions ways of believing, and perhaps even a morality that embraces the universal human family, imply the need to resolve issues without conflict. Even the existing conflict should be resolved in a peaceful way. And this is where the concept of peace comes in. Very often we realize that there is not peace when there is a conflict, open warfare. Perhaps we're being called upon to change this perspective. Why? Because if we only realize there is a lack of peace when there is a conflict, we are agreeing with those who say that peace is only a momentary absence of war. Peace, on the other hand, is something that we must embrace and build, something that certainly means not fighting, but that also entails security, a security that isn't just military security, it means economic security, human security. Peace is something we all have to live and to build individually and in agreement, we might say. Because only when we consider peace as a problem concerning people do we emerge from the logic of entrusting it to organizations. Entrusting peace to organizations means becoming prisoners of the particular interests that individual organizations, called states, can have or seek to achieve. We've realized that it is not possible to take justice into our own hands if we live within a group, a community, a body. But there is someone there who has to work to ensure there is justice. This transition, which has recently taken place in the community of people, must take place in the community of states too. And this is what we must work towards. Indeed, we are even more committed to working. More than proclaiming peace, we are committed to passing on this idea. When we have organizations on the international level that are able to guarantee real justice, true justice, obviously we will no longer speak of peace or war. Rather, we would say that there's someone who doesn't respect others and consequently thinks they can act alone. Today, in the logic of states, it is still considered possible that someone wakes up one morning and decides to use force to resolve a conflict, to solve a problem that they have with others. Self-defense works until a collective instrument intervenes that guarantees a return to normal. I believe that if this hope was included in 1945, in all the things that were stated in 1945, we must make it our own and try to make it be lived. In other words, I have learned something. A small thing. We're not all doctors, not all teachers. We don't all work in factories, but all of us vote. I think we find ourselves in this kind of framework. Well, here we need to do some lobbying and some training, because we can make our contribution at all levels. It's not just a conflict in Eastern Europe that should frighten us, but we must be aware of what is happening in Africa, in Asia. If we think of Myanmar, if we think of the Central African Republic, of the whole sub-Saharan area, if we think of what's happening in the Horn of Africa, or in Ethiopia, or in Syria, that is, we cannot remain inattentive to these things, nor can we only start paying attention to conflicts and wars, I use the exact term here, only when they're in our backyard. We should really have this expanded heart, and therefore also this expanded attention. That's when we will certainly be a body that reasons and that does something.
La pace.
Peace, as Vincenzo Buonomo said, peace is about people, and it's something we must all build, always, and in every circumstance. This commitment is far from easy, or to be taken for granted, especially today. In the talk Chiara gave in 1978, she gives us a strong challenge.
Amate I vostri nemici.
Love your enemies. Yes, this is a strong statement. It turns our way of thinking and acting upside down and makes us change the direction our life is going in. Let's not hide the fact that we all have enemies of one kind or another, even small ones. It might be our next-door neighbor, or the meddlesome, unpleasant lady I try to avoid whenever I meet her. My enemy could be a relative who wronged my father 30 years ago, and so I never spoke to him again. It could be the boy sitting at the desk behind you at school, and you never looked him in the eye again after he reported you to the teacher. Perhaps it is the girl you were dating who suddenly dropped you to go out with another guy. The enemy could be the salesperson who tricked you. And then there are the politicians who don't share our views, and so we consider them enemies. Today, some people even consider the government itself as their enemy and willingly resort to violence towards those who represent it. In addition, there are and always have been people who see priests as their enemies and hate the church. However, all these people and many others whom we might call our enemies should be loved. Loved? Yes, loved. And don't think you can manage that just by changing one hateful feeling for a more kindly one. There's more to it than that. Listen to what Jesus says. Love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. Do you see? Jesus wants us to overcome evil with good. He wants love to be expressed in concrete gestures. We might wonder why Jesus gave us a command of this kind. The fact is that he wants to shape our conduct according to that of God, his Father, who makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the righteous and on the unrighteous. This is how things stand. We are not alone in this world. We have a Father, and we need to be like him. What is more, God has a right to expect this kind of behavior from us, because he loved us first, while we were his enemies. While we were still immersed in wrongdoing, he sent us his Son, who died in that terrible way for each one of us. Perhaps we too need to sort out some difficult situation, especially since we will be judged according to how we judge others. In fact, we are the ones who will give God the measure with which he will have to measure us. Don't we ask God to forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us? So let's love our enemies. Only by acting in this way can unity be recomposed, barriers removed, and a community built up. Do you think this is too hard and burdensome? Does the mere thought of it keep us awake at night? Take courage. It's not the end of the world. All that's needed is a little effort on our part. Then God does the other 99%, and our hearts will be flooded with joy.
We have to do our part, and then God does everything else, Chiara said. Today, we listen to some experiences where the people involved made a personal choice so that they could build a small piece of the united world. We'll begin from Argentina with Lara's story.
My name is Lara, and I'm 46.
En una familia donde ya tanto mi papá como mi mamá.
In my family, both my father and mother tried to live for universal fraternity.
Yo recuerdo
I remember when being together with young people who wanted to live for this ideal, at a certain point, I felt I wanted to make a pact with God, saying, "Listen, God, I will work for a united world, and you take care of my plans, my projects, and all I want to do in life."
I
started this journey as if I'd set my sat-nav and I knew where my destination was. But then you realise that sometimes the sat-nav takes you on a different road, and you say, why? By going my way, I would get there sooner. And that's how things happen. I was quite determined about what I wanted to do. When I was 10, I wanted to be an acrobat, and I worked and trained. Then I had an accident and injured my spine. Well, as I found other ways to get to the goal, I realised it was God who was guiding this journey. He knew what was best for me. Then I put all my energy into dance, but also into theatre, especially comic theatre. And I realised I had a dream, which was to be a teacher, to educate, work with children. It was a real passion. I wanted to unite all these worlds together. Again, I spoke to Jesus and said, well, I leave it to you, and I will continue to work for a united world.
Que me apareció una oportunidad muy enriquecedora.
And then I had the exciting opportunity to work for 2 years in television, in an educational program for children in all Argentina. But the way of educating was through movement, play, and comedy.
Uno de mis sueños era poder.
One of my dreams was to be able to move with my family, so as to experience life in the interior of Argentina. This opportunity came up last year. They were looking for people to join the management team of the Aurora School, which is located in Santa Maria de Catamarca, a small town in the province of Catamarca, in the northwest of our country.
Esta escuela tiene una característica muy particular. Primero que es el lugar donde en los años.
This school has a very special characteristic. It's the place where at the beginning of the 60s, the first Mariapolis was held in South America, when the ideal of fraternity first arrived. The school's been here for more than 50 years and has undergone several transformations. It began with a small group of people who lived the motto that Chiara gave us, give your life for your people. It started with the possibility for artistic training, to give value to the local culture, to develop the handicrafts of the native people of the area. And it's grown and developed since then. So when the time came to move, it was difficult, because humanly speaking, there's also a tendency to want to achieve, to find our place in society. We have our comfort zones where we feel at ease. We feel we've achieved a position in life, recognition. At the same time, I said to my husband, well, let's try not to reason too much. Not to weigh up the benefits, but to feel with our hearts what God is asking of us, what the universe is calling us to. My husband isn't a believer, and talking together, we decided to try it out and then decide. The truth is that as soon as we set foot here, we both had the feeling, he had a very strong feeling, that this was the right place to be, to raise our children. We gave a sigh of relief, and with that conviction and that certainty that this was the place to continue our adventure, we threw ourselves into it. And I think that first impulse, which has nothing to do with reason, but with the heart, is what sustains us day by day. It was my experience of life as a Gen that led me to be able to make this leap in the dark, because being able to be part of an experience like this is a real privilege.
Yo puedo decir, sí, soy bailarina.
I can say yes, I'm a dancer, I'm an actress, a mother, a wife. Now it's up to me to direct this place, but above all, I'm a daughter of Chiara, and this is what defines me. And I think that's why I'm here, to build a united world. To build a united world here, on television, and with my family.
Thank you, Lara. Who knows if she's following the link up at the moment? And a special thanks to Diego, her husband, who did the filming for us. Do you know what communitarian microcredit is? Now we're going to listen to the experience of Rose from Burundi and how she managed to open a restaurant.
Hi, I'm Laura, and this is Voices from Around the World, the time when I tell you some stories from around the world, through the voices of those involved. Today's voice is Rose, from Burundi.
My name is Rose Majuma. I have a restaurant in a small house that I rented in the city.
Rose ha 6 figli e I più grandi l'aiutano a cucinare.
Rose has 6 children, and the older ones help her cook in her restaurant. As well as her, 5 other employees work there. Rose has managed to start her own business, through which she supports her family and employees. But what was the starting point of her business?
Our group started 13 years ago, but when I joined it, I didn't have this restaurant.
Un giorno Rose viene a conoscenza di un progetto.
One day, Rose heard about a project called It Can Be Done, run by Action for a United World, and by Kazobu, a Burundian NGO and local partner. It's a community microcredit project. How does it work? We asked Emanuela Castellano, project manager for Action for a United World.
Il microcredito comunitario è una metodologia.
Community microcredit is a methodology in which groups of people get together and self-finance by collecting and putting their own savings into a common fund.
In questo modo il gruppo può concedere.
In this way, the group can grant small credits to individual members to help them cover some costs when starting or running small income-generating activities.
Quindi Rose, per aprire il suo ristorante.
So Rose, when opening her restaurant, used funds that she and others like her had pulled together to help each other, right?
Esatto. Tutto questo avviene
Right.
proprio attraverso un approccio partecipativo.
It is all done through participation, which aims to empower the members of the group so the project can go ahead and
I
expand.
fondi raccolti e il nostro supporto servono proprio a sensibilizzare.
The funds raised and our support help to train, accompany, and raise awareness among the group members, but the money shared is theirs. This is the main feature of the project and the link with reciprocity whereby everyone can make their own contribution to the development of the community. The It Can Be Done project accompanies businesses that are growing little by little and want to access more substantial funding to enable their expansion.
I remember I used the first loan I took out to buy clothes, because at that time I didn't know how to make an investment. At some point I said to myself, how can I take this money without having a concrete project? What should I use it for?
Ecco quindi l'idea del ristorante.
So, she came up with the idea of a restaurant, an activity that could help her generate new income for her family. Rose asked the group for a loan to start investing in her new business.
I bought pots, plates and pans, and that was how I opened my restaurant. At first I didn't cook much food. I used to take the bus to the city and take the food to where the customers are. I realized that my customers like the food I prepared, so I thought about involving other workers. I pay their wages, and now they can also invest in other things.
Dreams. This word has all the more value in a country like Burundi. It's the second most densely populated country in Africa, and one of the 5 countries with the highest poverty rates in the world. In Burundi, almost 1 in 2 families, or 4.6 million people, suffer from food insecurity, and more than half of the children are malnourished. In this complex situation, Rose's restaurant is truly a dream come true.
We would like to have more credit. That way we could expand our business. I've got many projects, but I need more credit. But above all, I'm proud because I can pay the rent and all my children are able to study.
Con la sua attività, Rose adesso offre ai suoi figli e ai suoi dipendenti la possibilità di sognare.
With her business, Rose now offers her children and employees the chance to dream again. So, Birashaboka, which in Kirundi means, it can be done. Until the next time.
Thank you, Laura, and for this service. At the bottom of the screen, you can see the Action for a United World website, where you can get to know and support this and many other projects. Now we're going to Central America, to Guatemala, to hear from young people about the Educa project.
Yo quiero utilizar la tecnología para poder difundir mi cultura.
I want to use technology to be able to spread my culture, to tell people about the work of many Guatemalan weavers who are proud of what they do, but they're often unjustly paid.
Yo dejé mi profesión de docencia precisamente porque
I left my profession as a teacher precisely because I felt I needed a change, but I left it consciously, with complete certainty, when I discovered this Educa program.
Educa is a programming-oriented study project with 25 students. There were no prerequisites for attending this program. You didn't have to know anything about programming. You went from 0 to being a junior programmer.
Aún contando con la bendición de tener un trabajo, una oportunidad de empleo.
Even though I was blessed to have a job opportunity, which is rarely available in Guatemala, I had the idea of wanting to help women, and not only women, but also the men who live in my community, because as I grew up, I realized that many injustices were committed against them.
Y eso es lo que yo precisamente necesitaba en ese momento, porque si yo quería ayudar a estas personas,
that is what I needed at the time, because if I wanted to help these people, I had to have a resource. And now I clearly see that this resource is technology, because then I can take that culture, that knowledge of theirs, to other people who can appreciate it.
I thought it was a great opportunity, and I've been discovering that there are new skills in me that I didn't know about, or I just didn't recognize them in myself. So when this opportunity came along, I realized that maybe this was one of the skills I could develop.
Lo que yo quiero es hacer una página web, es un e-commerce, en donde ellas puedan comercializar estos productos. Y no solo eso, sino que también a través de...
I want to create a website for e-commerce where they can sell their products. and other products. At the same time, we can also be trained so that we no longer have submissive women, but women who are empowered and appreciated, women and adolescents who also have a dream, who can also excel, who can live in this world and be happy with equal opportunities for everyone.
I would love to work in a company that is dedicated to education, to continue to promote all these new tools that we have now. Until now, maybe many of us didn't realize that they are at our fingertips.
Mi sueño como comunicador es poder trabajar en alguna asociación, en algún programa que permita ayudar a...
My dream as a communicator is to be able to work in some association, in a program that allows us to help the world, to help children and to help young people, especially when you live in a country like Guatemala, where we often hear talk of situations as poverty, lack of education, lack of income, so many things that stop the country developing.
Through this course, I've discovered so many possibilities, and that technology opens so many doors. It has made me dream a lot more, and I've realized that the dreamers of today are the guardians of tomorrow.
Being an indigenous woman is not easy, but it is also our source of inspiration. It made us grow. But of course, everything starts from our home, and I think there they've given us the right ingredients to be able to get ahead. A great amount of love they gave us. Maybe we don't have all the resources, but we have the courage to keep going, to conquer the world.
Now, from Central America, we go back to Africa, and we listen to Adelaide from Burundi, Peace from Uganda, and Jacqueline from Kenya, young people who want to take in hand the future of their continent.
I am Adelaide Kananira. I'm from Burundi. I've been living here in Italy for the last 5 years. I studied my master's degree at Sofia University. And now I'm working with the Secretary of the International Politics for Unity movement. Together for New Africa is a project that was born at Sofia University, and it came from Sofia University's African students who thought, from the experience they were having, what can they give back to their continent? They sat together, then they thought, they put ideas together, and they come up with this project. And the first summer school was in 2018. The core of this project is to empower young people, African young people, to face the challenges that they face in everyday life, in their communities, in their countries, and as a continent.
My name is Savannah Blessed Peace. I'm 28 years old and an HR specialist, working with Kasaiba and Vigenetic as an IT recruiter in Kampala. I'm passionate about children, I'm passionate about women development, and also I'm passionate about education. Some of the major challenges in my country, it's about leadership, and not just about the leaders, like their leadership personality, but also leadership from every person as an individual in society. And we should not sit and wait for another person from another continent to solve our problems. That means every person from the family level has to take responsibility from their families at work and the society at large.
My name is Jacqueline Morioki. I am Alumni Career Advisory and Engagement Officer at Hatua Organization, an organization that seeks to break the poverty cycle by supporting young people from underprivileged background through their education and transition to work. I'm also the founder of an initiative called the Sprout Initiative, inspired by Together for a New Africa, which seeks to empower women and the youth in various aspects that affect them through our thematic areas and by building their capacities.
When Together for a New Africa came up through my tutor, Miss Nita Katushabe, I was like, this is it, I should take on this journey. And one of my major key takeaways has been the golden rule, do unto others, the exact same thing that we would love to be done unto us. I think about this every single day when I'm making decisions, be it at home, in my relationships, at work. I think and I'm like, would I have to make the same decision if at all it was coming back to me?
We've gotten recognitions by various organizations. In 2020, I was selected as Kenya's delegate in the Ubuntu United Nations, and basically the sessions are guided by the Ubuntu philosophy to inspire the young generation, young upcoming leaders in leadership through the Ubuntu philosophy of unity.
Being nominated in Top 40 Under 40 was a great surprise for me. It has always now been an encouragement that everything that I do, the world is watching. And it also a reminder that there is no impact that is small, and every impact that we do and every decision that we take has ripple effects to society.
Within you is the power to transform anything that you can think. Whatever challenge that you get to experience, just know that the little that you get to do towards solving that creates an endless ripples of inspiration, and that is what the world is really craving for in this 21st century.
Today, we concluded our first cycle of 3 years training course, which was amazing. And now we are going to the second cycle, which is going to start at the end of this year. And it will move from 7 countries to 14 countries. It's a challenge, we recognize that. But this step ahead is showing us that we can make it, because youth has taken it as their own project, and together we are moving forward.
Aren't these little films fantastic? They really warm our hearts and make us believe even more in the united world. Now we're drawing to the end, and I'd like to invite you, Margaret, to come and say a few words. In this link-up, we've spoken very much about peace, and you're a significant witness because you yourself have experienced the conflict that generates pain. Sometimes we're afraid, but where can we find reason to have hope?
That's a really good question. I think reason for hope I've seen now, watching this testimony, these stories, and I said to myself, how much good there is, how much goodness there is in the world, how much courage there is in the world, how many people are risking their lives to do good, for good and not for war, how many dreams there are. Just listening to these stories fills my heart with hope, beyond the fact that during these days all of us feel crushed by the pain of all that we're seeing on television, all that we hear, all the places that we've seen that are suffering from war and conflict. I can truly say, because I have experienced it personally, that conflict and war doesn't resolve anything. You can live in a country for many, many years and never see peace. What I have discovered when I met, before meeting the movement, I thought I wanted to live for justice, to struggle for justice, because it was the only thing that I saw possible to get out of the situation, to affirm human rights and live in freedom. But I couldn't see, also to live for God, but I couldn't see how to do this because without there being a bloody revolution. Then I met the Focolare movement, and I discovered that, yes, a revolution can bring justice, but this is a gospel revolution, that it might seem only living a bit like this, thinking of dreams or believing in divine things, but the revolution that Jesus asks of us in the gospel is a social revolution, one that changes your heart, changes your mindset. And I then was in touch with many other young people who wanted to live like that. It's true that we have not yet seen much change, but I can assure you that what builds peace in your heart is to see how you can change a mentality and mindset by living, by loving, as Chiara said in this link up, by loving your enemy, by loving every neighbor, doing these deeds, these gestures, as Chiara said, concrete deeds, because it's only this that can build a relationship. It's only this that can build a lasting peace that maybe we don't see yet, but is underground, as it were, in all of us, all these young people. It's so wonderful to see you here in this room. We must believe this, because this is what we want to build, and not to be afraid. We mustn't be afraid to risk. I was struck very much listening to these testimonies, struck by Chiara's thought that the very first time I heard it, it made a strong impression. It's enough to do 1%, and God does the rest, 99%. So we maybe can do very little if God does 99%. But then I made an examination of conscience, and I thought very often in life, I want to do 99% and let God do 1%. So this link up, what Chiara was saying, pushed me on to say, no, I want to let God do 99%, to believe that He is the source of peace, the source of courage. He gives us courage, and I can do my 1%. And if I do this, which is little, but in the little that I can do, I can let God act in history, in the story of our own lives and in the history of humanity. So in these few days, listening to many news, living for peace, praying for peace. Yesterday to the Pope entrusted the whole world to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. And he said, we must be artisans, crafts, people of fellowship, communion, that we build peace through dialogue, sharing, fellowship, dialoguing. So this made, during these few days, I was so happy thinking of one of Jen Rosso's songs that says that together with all the young people who are here, that we can truly say that in our lives today and for the future, it says, I believe in this humanity that breaks down the barriers, the frontiers, that pays personally, that does not use weapons, but knows how to use their heart. This is the humanity that believes in love.
Thank you so much, Margaret. Inspired by these words, to renew our commitment, first of all, to believe in this humanity with our life, and to pray that this can all bring about peace. Thank you. United World Week is just around the corner. We'll hear about it now from Bianca from Brazil and Juan Cruz from Argentina.
It will be held from the 1st to the 8th of May, and this year we'll focus on integral ecology. In fact, the title is Dare to Care, People, the Planet, and Our Ecological Conversion. We invite you to join in, to gather up and send your experiences that can give visibility to those actions that speak precisely of this, caring for the planet, for people, and promoting a personal and collective ecological conversion.
You can find all the information and the calendar of international and local events on the United World Week webpage.
We'd like to draw your attention to some of the upcoming international events. The launch of United World Week, that'll be on the 1st of May at 12 noon London time, with a worldwide online link-up with greetings from around the world and a special feature from the Middle East.
On the 7th of May, we'll launch a new environmental sustainability project, Focolare Eco Plans. You can find all the information on the webpage. And on the 8th of May, we'll conclude with the Run for Unity, the Marathon for Peace of the Teens for Unity.
We suggest that you start immediately living a lifestyle based on integral ecology right now with a Dare to Care warm-up. So this warming up means getting ready, getting serious, and intensifying a real lifestyle change.
Like, for example, reducing personal car use, proposing initiatives to reduce disposable plastic at the university cafeterias or food waste, finding ways to reduce energy to the essentials, and then make an evaluation of the impact of our actions and give the money we save to solidarity projects.
So enjoy your preparation for United World Week.
Now, let's hand over to the communities in Indonesia and the Philippines who are already in action.
We are from Indonesia.
We would like to share our program, Dare to Care. We're sharing the food for the homeless in the middle of Yogyakarta city. We start this program since 2021 until now. Also, we have a program, English teaching for the children in the orphanage at Hamba since the beginning of the year until now.
And for our upcoming activities, we will have United World Week, which will be held on May 1 up to 7. And on April 30 until May 1, we will have Youth Camp program where we will clean the beach and the surrounding environment. Besides, on May 1 until May 7 again, we will have several activities such as preparing gifts and visiting the houses of our Muslim brothers to celebrate the Idul Fitri together. And another activity is we will have the Rosary prayer together for the peace between Ukraine and Russia. Thank you.
Ciao, I'm Paul. I'm from Las Piñas.
Hello, I am Arlen from Baguio.
Hello, I am Randy from South Cotabato.
Hi, I am Antoinette from Tagaytay.
Hi, I'm Danilo from Cebu.
Hello, I am Rubel from Tacloban, Leyte.
Hi, I'm Gino from Tagaytay.
Hi, I'm Pao from Tagaytay.
Since the start of the Green Pathway, we held the coastal cleanup drive in Davao, southern part of the country. The youth of the Gen School also started an eco-farm project here in the Cittadella.
We would like to start the United World Week with a Care Day for the planet by conducting various initiatives like tree planting and coastal cleanup drives in different parts of the country at the same time.
We are looking into the possibility of campaigning for a zero-waste lifestyle by promoting zero-waste kits so we can all be encouraged.
With elections on May 9, we are also thinking of launching a campaign to collect the different election materials like tarpaulins and collaborate with a group that can help recycle waste. Mabuhay!
Ecco, prima di annunciare che stiamo andando alla fine, io volevo
Before I say that we're nearly at the end, because I just called my friend Jose, and his name is Juan Cruz. But now we've reached the end of this beautiful moment together as a family. You can watch this link up again in Italian on the individual items on the YouTube channel. Translations in other languages will be available in the coming weeks. But don't forget to click on the subscribe button and the bell so you can keep up to date with all the news. The next link up will be on the 28th of May 2022 at 8 p.m. Central European Time. Così, a big embrace, from a Brazilian embrace to all of you, and let's continue living more and more intensely for peace. And now, here, there's so many young people here. It's such a long time since we've had a big group of young people here. And we also want to greet those who are linked up by streaming.